The conference hall was quiet, but the tension was thick. Jai Park stood near the window, looking out at the massive space station that floated between stars. Her fingers ran over the data pad, checking her presentation one last time. Outside, the endless black of space stretched out, dotted with distant pinpricks of light. Jai was not nervous. She was ready. The Galactic Science Symposium was the biggest meeting of intelligent species in the known universe. Hundreds of alien races would attend, each hoping to show how smart and advanced they were. And today, Earth would be presenting its first major ecological research. Most people thought Jai was just a normal researcher. She was small, with short black hair and eyes that seemed to take in everything around her. But her mind was anything but normal. She knew things about Earth that would shock the entire galaxy. The doors opened with a soft hiss. Alien delegates began to arrive, each more strange than the last. The Kyrian representatives looked like tall, thin shadows with too many arms. The Orion Confederacy members were round and covered in bright scales that changed color when they moved. The Stellar Harmony group wore long robes that seemed to float around their bodies. Jay watched them carefully. They looked at her with a mix of curiosity and something else, maybe a little bit of pity. They saw humans as a young species, still learning about the universe. They didn't know what was coming. Her research team had spent months preparing this presentation. They had argued about every single slide, every single piece of data. Some thought she was too bold. Others thought she was crazy. But Jay knew the truth. Earth was not what these aliens thought it was. The main conference room was huge. Seats that looked like they were made of liquid light spread out in a circle. Each seat was designed to fit a different alien body type. Some were flat, some were curved, some looked like they could float in the air. At the center was a massive holographic platform where speakers would present their research. Lorax, the lead representative of the Kyrian collective, walked towards Jai. His body moved in a strange way, with too many joints that bent in directions that seemed impossible. "Young human," he said, his voice coming out like a mix of wind and music, "we are looking forward to your presentation about your planet's ecology." Jay smiled. It was not a warm smile. It was the smile of someone who knew a secret. "I think you'll find our presentation interesting," she said simply. The other alien researchers were setting up their own displays. Some had machines that could show entire planetary systems in perfect detail. Others had complex mathematical models that could predict the evolution of entire species. They looked confident. They looked proud. They had no idea what was coming. In the background, technical workers moved around. Some were human, some were alien. They checked connections, adjusted holographic projectors, and made sure everything was perfect. The symposium was more than just a meeting. It was a chance for different species to show what they knew. Jay's research team was small but determined. They had spent years collecting data about Earth's most extreme environments. They had studied everything, from the deepest ocean trenches to the highest mountain peaks. They knew things about planetary ecology that no one else understood. More alien delegates entered the room. Some looked confused by the human presence. Others looked bored. A few looked curious. They didn't know that in a few hours, everything they thought they knew about life would change. The holographic clock showed the time. 20 minutes until the presentation would begin. Jay took a deep breath. Her data pad was ready. Her mind was clear. She knew exactly what she was going to do. Earth was about to teach the galaxy a lesson it would never forget. The holographic platform hummed to life. Bright lights filled the conference hall, creating a soft glow that made everything look almost magical. Jai Park walked to the center of the platform, her footsteps quiet but confident. Hundreds of alien eyes watched her. Some had multiple eyes that moved in different directions. Some were large and round. Some were tiny and sharp, but they all focused on Jai. She tapped her data pad. The first image appeared, a dense green forest full of trees that seemed to touch the sky. The image was so clear that it looked like a window into another world. Earth, Jay began, her voice steady and clear, is not like other planets. The Kyrian representative, Lorax, leaned forward, his many arms crossed in front of his body. He looked interested, but also a little bored. Many other alien researchers had claimed their planet was special before. Jay's first slide showed the Amazon rainforest, but this was no simple nature picture. This was a complex map of life that would change everything the aliens thought they knew. In just 1 square kilometer of this forest, she explained, there are more living things than on some entire planets represented in this room. The holographic display began to zoom in. Tiny creatures appeared, insects, plants, fungi, bacteria. Each one was connected to others by bright lines. It looked like a living, breathing network of life. Most alien species studied ecology as a simple science. They looked at basic connections between living things. But Jay was showing something different. This was a war of survival happening every single moment. She pointed to a small ant on the screen. It was small and brown. Nothing special to look at. This, Jay said, is a bullet ant. Its sting is so painful that humans have a special way of measuring its pain. A holographic display changed. Now there was a pain index, with the bullet ant near the very top. Alien delegates started to look uncomfortable. Some shifted in their seats. Others made strange sounds that might have been confusion or surprise. Lorax's multiple eyes blinked rapidly. He had studied thousands of planetary ecosystems, but this was different. Joe continued, humans walk through forests filled with these ants. Children play in areas where these creatures live. We don't just survive. We exist alongside them. The presentation went deeper. She showed how plants in the Amazon fought each other, how fungi created complex underground networks, how insects had developed incredible ways to survive and attack. Each slide was a story of survival. Each image showed a world more complex than the aliens had ever imagined. The Orion Confederacy representatives looked worried. Their scales changed colors quickly, a sign of emotional stress in their species. They were used to clean, controlled environments. This wild, crazy system of life was totally new to them. Jai knew exactly what she was doing. This was not just a scientific presentation. This was a message about what Earth really was. She zoomed in on a single leaf. Hundreds of tiny creatures lived on this one leaf. Some were eating each other. Some were working together. Some were waiting to attack. It was a tiny world of constant battle. On Earth, Jay said, life is not about peace. Life is about survival. The alien delegates were no longer bored. They were scared. One by one, the representatives from different species began to understand. Earth was not just another planet. Earth was a living system more complex and more dangerous than anything they had ever seen. Lorax's body moved strangely. His many arms seemed to shake a little. He was beginning to realize that humans were not what they had thought. Jay's presentation was just beginning, and the galaxy was about to learn a hard lesson about life, survival, and the true meaning of being alive. The conference hall went quiet. Jay's presentation had changed from interesting to something else entirely. The alien delegates looked nervous. Something big was coming. Jay's next slide showed a place that looked like nothing they had ever seen before. It was a dry, red landscape with strange plants and dangerous-looking creatures. The title appeared, Australian Outback. This is one of Earth's most challenging environments, Jay explained. Her voice was calm. Too calm for what she was about to show. The holographic display began to move. It zoomed in on different parts of the landscape. Each zoom showed something more terrifying than the last. First came the plants. They weren't like plants anywhere else in the galaxy. These plants didn't just sit and grow. They fought to survive. Some had poison. Some had sharp spikes. Some could kill animals that came too close. A plant called the strychnine tree appeared on the screen. Its seeds were so poisonous that just a few could kill multiple large animals. The alien delegates started to lean back in their seats. Then came the animals. Each one seemed designed to be a living weapon. A snake slithered across the screen. The inland tapir, Jay explained, had venom so strong that a single bite could kill 100 humans. But humans didn't run from this snake. They studied it. They lived near it. Lorax, the Kyrian representative, made a strange sound. It was something between a gasp and a whisper. His many arms moved nervously. The presentation continued. Box jellyfish appeared next, transparent and beautiful, but deadly beyond imagination. Their poison could kill a human in minutes, yet humans still swam in waters where these creatures lived. Humans don't just survive in these environments, Jay said. They explore them. They make them home. A video started playing. It showed children playing near areas with venomous snakes, researchers walking through forests full of poisonous plants, explorers tracking through landscapes that would kill most species in seconds. The Stellar Harmony representatives looked sick. Their floating robes seemed to shrink around them. They had never seen anything like this. Jay zoomed in on a single patch of Australian ground. In just this small area, she showed over 20 different creatures that could kill a human. Spiders, snakes, plants, insects. Each one was a tiny death machine. On most planets, she explained, life tries to avoid danger. On Earth, we walk right through it. The alien researchers began to whisper among themselves. Their universal translators picked up Jay's words, but they couldn't understand the true meaning. How could a species be so comfortable with danger? A scorpion appeared on the screen. Not just any scorpion, but one found in the Australian desert. Its poison could stop a human's heart. But humans, they caught these scorpions. They studied them. They learned their secrets. The Orion Confederacy members changed colors rapidly. Their scale patterns showed pure confusion and fear. Their own research ships had special protection from the smallest dangers. Humans walked through danger like it was nothing. Jay's next slide showed something unexpected. It was a group of humans doing research in the most dangerous part of the Australian wilderness. They were smiling, laughing, taking samples from areas that would kill most species instantly. This is not bravery, Jay said. This is normal life for humans. The conference hall was completely silent now. The alien delegates looked at each other. Something was changing. Their understanding of life, of survival, of what was possible, it was all falling apart. Earth was not just another planet. Earth was a training ground for survival. And humans were its perfect students. Lorax's many arms shook slightly. He understood now. Humanity was something completely different, something the galaxy had never seen before. The holographic display changed. Now it showed something different. Maps of Earth, but not like any maps the aliens had seen before. Jay's voice was steady. Humans can survive where no other species can even breathe. The first map showed temperature ranges. Blue areas marked freezing cold zones. Red areas showed burning hot landscapes. In the middle, a small green area represented what humans called comfortable. Lorax leaned forward, his many eyes focused on the screen. Something was not right about these maps. -60 degrees Celsius, Jay said, pointing to a blue area. Humans live here, not just survive. They build cities. They work. They play. Images appeared. People in thick clothes, but smiling, working outside in temperatures that would freeze most species instantly. Vehicles moved across snow. Children played. Life continued as if nothing was wrong. Then the red areas. 50 degrees Celsius, so hot that most alien species would die in minutes. But humans? They adapted. They created ways to live. Air conditioning, special clothing, water systems. The Orion Confederacy representatives changed colors. Their scales moved from bright blue to pale green, a sign of deep confusion. Altitude is another challenge, Jay continued. A new map appeared. It showed mountain ranges, places so high that the air was thin, places where oxygen was almost nothing. Humans not only survived in these areas, they climbed them for fun. Videos showed mountain climbers. They carried heavy bags. They walked where the air was so thin that breathing was hard. Some wore special masks. Some didn't. They smiled. They looked happy. Radiation was next. The alien delegates started to look scared. Radiation was death for most species. One small burst could destroy entire cellular systems. But humans, they had different ideas. Humans work in areas with radiation, Jay explained. They clean up nuclear sites. They study dangerous environments. They don't just avoid danger. They walk right into it. Images of nuclear cleanup teams appeared. People in special suits. People studying areas that would kill most species in seconds. They looked calm. They looked normal. Lorax's body started to shake. His many arms moved in weird patterns. He was beginning to understand something terrible. Humans were not just another species. Humans were something else entirely. The presentation showed medical data next. How human bodies responded to injuries that would kill other species. Broken bones that healed. Wounds that closed quickly. Immune systems that fought off diseases that would destroy entire alien populations. A video showed a human athlete. He had a broken leg. But in weeks, he was walking. In months, he was running. The alien delegates couldn't believe their eyes. Our bodies are not just survival machines, Jay said. They are adaptation machines. Chemical exposure came next. Humans survived in environments full of chemicals that would dissolve other species. They cleaned toxic waste. They worked in dangerous factories. They treated these environments like normal workplaces. The stellar harmony representatives started to look sick. Their floating robes seemed to shrink. They were realizing something important. Humans were not weak. Humans were the opposite of weak. Jay's last slide was simple. It showed a human baby. Small, soft, seemingly fragile. But the data around the baby told a different story. Genetic adaptability, incredible healing power, potential for survival that no other species could match. We are not just survivors, Jay said quietly. We are change itself. The conference hall was completely silent. The alien delegates looked at each other. Something had changed. Their entire understanding of life was falling apart. Lorax's many arms dropped to his sides. He understood now. Humanity was not just another species in the galaxy. Humanity was a force of nature. The conference hall felt different now. The alien delegates were no longer relaxed. They were afraid. Jay's next presentation looked simple. Just food. But nothing about humans was ever simple. Humans eat things that would kill other species, she said. The first image appeared. It showed a small yellow pepper. But this was no ordinary pepper. This was something called a Carolina Reaper, the most painful food on Earth. Lorax leaned forward. His many eyes blinked quickly. The Kyrian representative had seen many strange things. But this was different. A video started playing. Humans were eating the pepper. Not just eating. Laughing. Smiling. Some were crying from the pain. But they kept eating. Most species would die from this, Jay explained. Humans create competitions about who can eat the most. The stellar harmony representatives looked sick. Their floating robes seemed to move nervously. How could any species enjoy pain? More images appeared. Humans eating foods that made no sense. Extremely spicy things. Extremely bitter things. Things that would cause other species to stop breathing. A chart showed chemical compounds. The alien delegates could see how these foods contained chemicals that should be deadly. But humans? Humans ate them for fun. We don't just eat to live, Jay said. We eat to challenge ourselves. Another video showed something even more strange. Humans drinking a black liquid called coffee. The bitter taste was so strong that most species would never touch it. Humans drank it every day, multiple times a day. Survival became the next topic. The holographic display changed. Now it showed humans in different extreme situations. A person lost in a desert, another stuck in a cold mountain, another trapped on a small boat in the middle of an ocean. Each situation would kill most species quickly. Humans found ways to survive. We can live with almost no food, Jay explained. We can drink our own water in emergencies. We can eat things most species would never consider food. Images appeared of humans eating insects, drinking strange plant liquids, using things that other species would consider garbage as food sources. The Orion Confederacy members changed colors rapidly. Their scales showed pure confusion. How could a species be so flexible? Jay showed a human survival guide next. It was full of crazy information. How to find water in a desert. How to make fire. How to create shelter from nothing. How to find food where no food seemed to exist. Survival is not just about having resources, she said. It's about creating resources. A video played of humans making tools, using rocks, using sticks, creating things that helped them survive from almost nothing. The alien delegates watched in shock. Lorax's many arms moved strangely. He was beginning to understand something terrible. Humans were not just another species. They were something else entirely. The presentation showed human emergency medical kits next. Small boxes that contained ways to stop bleeding, ways to clean wounds, ways to create temporary shelters, ways to signal for help. We prepare for problems before they happen, Jay said. The final slide was simple. It showed a human smile. But now, after everything they had seen, that smile looked different. It was not just a smile. It was a warning. The conference hall was completely silent. The alien delegates looked at each other. Something had changed. Their entire understanding of life was falling apart. Humans were not just survivors. Humans were masters of survival. And the galaxy was just beginning to understand. The room felt different now. Something had changed. The aliens were no longer just watching. They were listening. They were afraid. Jay's next presentation was about something they couldn't understand: the human mind. Humans don't just survive, she said. We enjoy the challenge of survival. The first image showed something called extreme sports. People jumping from high places, climbing dangerous mountains, swimming in freezing waters. But they were smiling, laughing. Lorax, the Kyrian representative, couldn't understand. Why would any species do something dangerous for fun? A video started. People were climbing a mountain with no special protection, no extra help, just their own body and their mind. The mountain was cold. The wind was strong. But the humans looked happy. Most species avoid danger, Jay explained. Humans create danger. Then we beat it. The Stellar Harmony representatives started to shake. Their floating robes seemed to shrink. This made no sense to them. More images appeared. Military training. People crawling through mud, jumping over high walls, running with heavy bags, doing exercises that would kill most species. But these humans were not prisoners. They were volunteers. We train ourselves to be stronger, Jay said. We create challenges just to prove we can beat them. The alien delegates looked confused. On their planets, training was careful, controlled, safe. Humans turned training into a battle against themselves. A new video showed something called survival camps. Young humans learning how to survive in the worst conditions. They were learning to make fire, to find water, to build shelters, and they were having fun. Lorax's many arms moved strangely. He was trying to understand. But this was beyond his understanding. The presentation showed human mental strength next. People who survived terrible situations. People who kept fighting when everything seemed lost. A story about a person trapped in the wilderness for weeks appeared. No food, no water, no help, but the human survived. Not just survived. Stayed calm. Made plans. Fought back. We don't give up, Jay said simply. More examples came. People who survived plane crashes. People who survived being lost at sea. People who survived in places where no other species could live. The Orion Confederacy representatives changed colors rapidly. Their scales showed pure confusion. How could a species be so strong? Psychological tests appeared next. Humans put in situations that would break most species. Extreme cold, extreme heat, no sleep, limited food. But they didn't break. Our mind is our greatest weapon, Jay explained. Videos showed something called mental training. Humans learning to control their emotions, learning to stay calm in the worst situations, learning to think clearly when everything was going wrong. The alien delegates were no longer bored. They were scared. A final video showed something unexpected. Humans helping each other, saving strangers, risking their own lives for people they didn't even know. We are not just individuals, Jay said. We are a team. We fight together. Lorax's body started to shake. He was beginning to understand something terrible. Humans were not just another species. They were something else entirely. The last slide was simple. It showed a human eye. But now, after everything they had seen, that eye looked different. It was not just an eye. It was a window into something powerful. The conference hall was completely silent. The alien delegates looked at each other. Something had changed. Their entire understanding of life was falling apart. Humans were not just survivors. Humans were masters of their own destiny. And the galaxy was just beginning to understand. The conference hall was silent. Nobody moved. Nobody spoke. Jay Park stood at the center of the holographic platform. Her presentation was over, but something big had changed. Lorax, the Kyrian collective representative, was the first to move. His many arms shook. His body seemed smaller now. He looked scared. "This cannot be real," he whispered. But everyone heard him. The other alien delegates started to talk. At first, it was just small sounds. Then it became a wave of noise. Different languages, different translation systems, but all saying the same thing. What just happened? The Orion Confederacy members were changing colors faster than anyone had ever seen. Their scales moved from blue to green to red, a sign of total confusion and fear. Jay remained calm. She knew exactly what she had done. The symposium's main director walked to the center of the room. An alien with 3 eyes and skin that looked like silver metal. "We need to discuss this," he said. Emergency meetings were called, not just in the conference hall, but in different ships, different stations. Different alien governments were waking up to hear about the human presentation. "Minimal contact protocols," Lorax said suddenly. His voice was loud. "We need minimal contact with humans." The silver-skinned director looked at him. "Explain." Lorax's many arms moved quickly. "Humans are not a species to be guided. They are a species to be watched, to be understood, maybe to be feared." Video recordings of Jay's presentation were sent everywhere, to every alien government, every research center, every space station. Humans had changed from a curious new species to something else entirely. The Stellar Harmony representatives huddled together. Their floating robes seemed to shrink. They were scared, truly scared. How can a species be so adaptable? One of them asked. No one answered. Emergency meetings happened fast. Diplomatic strategies were being rewritten. What was once a plan to guide humans was now a plan to understand them. Jay watched all of this. She didn't move. She didn't speak. She just watched. The symposium's main director walked up to her. "What was the purpose of this presentation?" he asked. Jay smiled. It was not a warm smile. "To show the truth," she said simply. More meetings, more discussions. Alien species were trying to understand what they had just learned. Humans were not weak. Humans were not simple. Humans were a force of nature. Lorax sent messages to his government. "We need to change everything we know about humans," he wrote. "They are not what we thought." The Orion Confederacy started reviewing all their past interactions with humans. Every report, Every meeting, every small detail. They were looking for signs of what humans really were. The Stellar Harmony Group began medical research. They wanted to understand human biology. How could a species be so different? So strange. Jay remained calm. She knew this would happen. Her research team watched from the side. They were proud. They knew what they had done. The symposium would never be the same. The galaxy would never be the same. Humans had entered the galactic stage, not as a new species to be guided, but as a species to be respected, to be feared. The silver-skinned director looked at Ja. "What do humans want?" he asked. Jay's smile was the only answer he needed. The galaxy had just learned a hard lesson. Humanity was not just another species. Humanity was something else entirely. The emergency session of the Interstellar Confederation looked different from any meeting before. Huge screens showed Jay Park's presentation over and over again. Each replay made the alien representatives more nervous. Lorax sat in the center of the room. His many arms were still. His body looked smaller than before. The presentation had changed everything. "We need to talk about humans," he said. The room was in a special place, not on a planet, not on a space station. This was a secret meeting place between stars, a place where the most important decisions were made. Each alien species had a representative: the Kyrian Collective, the Orion Confederacy, the Stellar Harmony Group. All of them looked scared. "Humans are not what we thought," the Orion representative said. Her scales kept changing colors: blue, green, red, a sign of total confusion. Screens showed different parts of Jay's presentation: the dangerous environments, the crazy survival skills, the impossible biology. Each image was like a knife cutting through their old understanding. "We have 3 options," Lorax explained. The first option was simple: avoid humans completely. Stop all contact. Pretend they didn't exist. But everyone knew that was impossible now. The second option was to study humans, learn everything about them, understand their biology, their psychology, their way of living. The third option was more complicated: try to control humans, but everyone in the room knew that was impossible. "They are not a species we can guide," the Stellar Harmony representative said. Her floating robes moved nervously. "They are something else." More videos played. Humans surviving in places no other species could live. Humans eating things that would kill most life forms. Humans creating challenges just to beat them. The meeting room had special technology. It could show information from thousands of planets, millions of years of scientific research, but nothing compared to what they had just learned about humans. "Look at this," someone said. A new screen showed human military training. People running, jumping, fighting. Not because they had to, but because they wanted to. "They create difficulty," Lorax said. "They don't avoid it." More information appeared: human space exploration, how they sent people to dangerous places, how they did experiments that other species would never try. The Kyrian Collective had files on thousands of species, millions of planets. But humans were different. "We need a new plan," the meeting director said. Each representative had information, reports, research, but nothing made sense anymore. Humans were not just another species trying to survive. Humans were a force of nature. "We cannot treat them like a young civilization," the Orion representative said. "We must treat them like a potential threat." More screens showed human technology. It was not the most advanced, but it was the most creative. Humans found ways to do things that made no sense. The meeting went on for hours, but it could be summed up in one idea: humans were dangerous, not because they wanted to fight, but because they could adapt to anything. "Our old plans are finished," Lorax said. The screens kept showing Jay's presentation. That simple ecological talk had changed everything. Humans were not just another species in the galaxy. They were something else entirely. The Interstellar Confederation had one job: understand, and manage new species. But humans were unmanageable. Jay Park stepped off the spaceship like it was a normal day. She carried a small bag. Her research pad was in her hand. To her, nothing special had happened, but everything had changed. The Earth spaceport looked normal. People moved around. Machines worked. Planes took off and landed. Nobody knew what had just happened in the galaxy. Her phone buzzed. A message from her research team. "Good job," it said. Nothing more. Jay didn't understand how big her presentation was. She thought it was just another scientific talk. Just another day of showing what Earth was like. Thousands of light years away, alien governments were rewriting their entire understanding of humanity. On her home planet, life continued as always. People went to work. Children went to school. Nobody realized that the entire galaxy was looking at Earth differently now. Her team was waiting. They looked happy. They had done something important, but they didn't know how important. "Want coffee?" her research partner asked. "Sure," Jay said. They walked to a small cafe. Humans sat around, drinking coffee that would burn most alien species' mouths, eating spicy food, talking about normal things. They had no idea that right now, alien representatives were having emergency meetings, discussing humanity like it was the most dangerous thing in the universe. Jay's phone showed some messages. Scientific journals wanted to interview her. She didn't think much of it. In space stations and alien governments, her presentation was being watched over and over. Each replay made alien species more nervous. The Kyrian Collective was creating new diplomatic plans. The Orion Confederacy was reviewing all past human interactions. The Stellar Harmony Group was studying human biology like it was the most important thing in the universe. Jay ordered a sandwich. Spicy chicken. The kind of food that would destroy most alien digestive systems. Her research partner talked about their next project. More ecological studies. More understanding of Earth's complex systems. They had no idea they had just changed everything. Alien species were realizing something important. Humans were not just another civilization to be guided. Humans were a force of nature. Jay finished her coffee. It was strong. The kind of coffee that would make most alien species shake and feel sick. Her phone rang. A scientific conference wanted her to speak. She said yes without thinking much about it. In secret meeting rooms across the galaxy, representatives were discussing humanity. Not as a young species, but as a potential threat, a potential partner, something completely new. Jay walked out of the cafe. The sun was bright. People moved around her. Cars drove by. Planes flew overhead. A normal day on Earth. But nothing was normal anymore. The galaxy had just learned a hard lesson. Humanity was not what they thought. Humanity was something else entirely. And Jay Park. She was just going back to work. She had no idea that her simple presentation had changed everything. Thousands of light years away, alien species were rewriting their understanding of life itself. Earth was not just another planet. Earth was a training ground for survival. And humans were its perfect students. One simple ecological presentation had changed everything. And Jay didn't even know it.